And good evening, and welcome to another edition of Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams. We're here, Studio B at Studios 808 here in Allentown, section of the city of Pittsburgh. It's great to be here tonight with you talking sports, and we're here till 9 o'clock. Your comments are welcome in the comments section and our live call-in numbers on the ticket take below the screen here. Also, all shows are live on both Facebook and YouTube. So don't forget to tune in, and my archive versions will be on my YouTube page, or also my YouTube page, my channel, and also on my Facebook page. Don't forget to like my Facebook page and subscribe to my YouTube page as well. It's great to be here tonight. It's Tuesday night. We have some big news in Steeler country. We'll bring that up in a few minutes. We're going to talk Pirates, Penguins. We have other news tonight as well, national NFL news, coming up also. Whole lot to talk about tonight. And I just wanted to let everyone know, those of you who are first time watchers of the show, I am Pittsburgh's forgotten son. Those of you who are not aware, and I'm not going to spend 20 minutes like I did the week before, the week or whatever, talking about somebody, which I don't choose to do tonight. I did a little bit of it last night, a little bit. But what I'm going to talk about right now is the fact that why I call myself Pittsburgh's forgotten son. Well, in case you're not aware, and some of you are not, I have been getting the shaft real bad in this town by some of the local media. Not all, some. All right. I have friends here, as I mentioned last night on the way I see it, that I do have some friends here that are my media friends, but there are some of them out here who want to disrespect me and think that their doo-doo don't stink and they're better than I am and things like that. And you get a lot of that these days, and we'll talk about that next week. Next Monday, on the way I see it, I have someone coming on, gentleman that I've been known for a long, long time. We were once partners on the radio, went back in the day. He's coming on. His name is Steve Spates, and he's coming on to talk about something that I have been talking about on the way I see it for a while now. It's about nothing in this country. Nobody wants to lift a finger to do anything, and I have a classic case of something that happened to Steve. So Steve is going to come on here, and he's going to talk about it with us because I want to push my point ahead about the nothing in this society today and the ignorance and a whole lot more that we spoke about last night on the way I see it. All right, Steeler news, as you well know, last week or this past week, if you're not aware, Minka Fitzpatrick signed a 4-year, $18 million contract. And the Steelers are also continuing talks with Heinz Kraft about trying to keep the name Heinz Field. If Heinz Field does go away, which I don't think it will, we'll see what Heinz does. A lot of you are not aware, and I've said this on many shows, Heinz is no longer affiliated with Pittsburgh. Their offices are now in Chicago, Illinois, despite the fact that we still have the Heinz ketchup bottle over at the Heinz Lofts. They sold that plant to Baywood Foods when they merged with Del Monte many years ago. Well, but Baywood Foods now is no longer there, and it just sits there idle right now. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but Baywood Foods closed it up, and they're long gone. So what is going to happen with the Heinz plant, I don't know. We can talk about that another time as well. But I just want to let you know that they're talking with Kraft Heinz about possibly having, the naming rights still be Heinz at Heinz Field. If not, who knows what'll happen, where it could go. It could be Art Rooney Field. It could be anything. We'll see. We'll see if someone comes forward and decides that they're going to put their name on Heinz Field. All right, Chris Boswell next to get a contract extension. Chris Boswell, he's been very, very good here with the Steelers. He kicks a lot of, he makes most of his field goals. I know a few years back he had some issues with extra points. I don't know what that was about. I do know he was playing with an injury and some things like that. But now he seems to be back in order the way that he's used to doing things. And he's become that great NFL kicker, and it's sad that he hasn't made the Pro Bowl at all as a kicker. There's too many good ones out there for him to do that as well. Justin Tucker, just to name a few, that are out there and that can do that. All right, training camp this year will be at the end of July at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. Everybody's ranting and raving about that, including the town of Latrobe, who's very pleased that the Steelers are coming back. But some people have their vacations around Heinz or around training camp. They want to go out there. They want to get an autograph. They want to do all this other stuff. So they're going to go and do that, and that's what's going to happen. There we are. That's right. There we go. All right. All right. Comment section's wide open. Let's see what we have here. Juana. All right. My steady watcher Juana is on right now. And she says, hello, Ralph. And I say hi back and thank her, as always, watching the program. She's a very steady watcher of the program. All right. And you too can be part of it. The comment section's wide open as well as Juana. And don't forget our live call-in number on the bottom here on the ticker take. And also, we are live on both Facebook and YouTube platforms, as we are every single week here on Sports Corner Tuesday edition. Don't forget my TV edition. PCTV Channel 21, Comcast 47, Verizon Cable, every Saturday night at 5 p.m. All right, getting back to the Steelers, we're going to talk some more. Do you think the Steelers can sign another free agent on the defensive line to replace Stephon Tuitt? Well, guess what? That happened today. The Steelers have signed Larry Okunjoku, who played for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was a defensive tackle. Then he went to Chicago this year. They gave him $10 million for 2 years, and they had to tear the contract up because he didn't pass his physical. Well, he came into town today and walked out with a contract, and that's a great thing. And, Larry Okunjoku is and could be the guy that is the experienced vet that I have said many, many times that I thought the Steelers were going to have this an experienced veteran. They had to go out and get one, and they got one today, Larry Okunjoku. And let me tell you what, this guy's no joke. He can really play. I'm surprised he came here. I don't know the financial on it yet, but I do know he signed a one-year deal today. Breaking news about the Steelers. That is great news because I was concerned that they had no one to fill in for Stephon Tuitt. Another report's out today that Mitch Trubisky, that Mike Tomlin is already planning on having him as the starter. And I knew that was coming about because see what you don't understand is, unlike college, you can have a quarterback competition, but you can't in the NFL because you don't have enough time. You don't have time to actually take a look at these guys. This year, we're going from 4 preseason games down to 3. They have added again. Last year they added a 18th or 17th game, so you could be 9-8 instead of the even 8-8 or whatever. Okay, and the Steelers could have been that if they didn't have a tie with Detroit last year, which they should have won that game, but that's beside the point. Mason Rudolph was the starter for that game. But anyway, there's a report out that the Steelers have already determined who's going to be their starting quarterback. And I knew when Mitch Trubisky came here, and I was the one who said that they should bring in Mitch Trubisky. Some of my other fellow media colleagues were looking at Marcus Mariota, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who retired, and I have news on him coming up later on in my other sports news. And, but anyway, I said that from the get-go, that I thought that the Steelers were going to have Mitch Trubisky as a starter. I don't think Kenny Pickett's ready. I don't think he's going to have enough snaps to be ready. I could be wrong. I mean, but some people are telling me, scouts that I know, that he is not NFL ready, and that's a simple fact. So we'll find out what happens with him. But I'm real concerned about this, and that is that they're planning on getting rid of Mason Rudolph, which, of course, I said they probably should take his $5 million and go sign and give it to somebody else. Well, they already signed Minkah Fitzpatrick. They could give it to him or spread it out or go get another free agent. All right, I'm hearing news now that they're looking at Houston Texans running back David Johnson has indicated he wants to play for the Steelers. He no longer wants to play for the Texans. I don't know what his status is. I believe he's a free agent, but said he would like if the Steelers would sign him. Do you know what that would do for our running game? Do you realize what happens with the running game? Because Najee Harris will have a decent backup, okay, and we can have a 1-2 punch, and that would take pressure off the quarterback, take pressure off having to throw every down, take pressure, and then plus you're controlling the clock, and you're eating up the clock, and you're keeping the other team's offense off the field, especially when we have to play Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. We need to keep him off the field. So by controlling the football, killing the clock, you have that 1-2 punch. And there's lists out there of players who people think may end up becoming you know, a casualty, which could happen. I mean, there are some players out there that could become a casualty, and some of them. There's a top five, and I'm going to tell you that in just a second here. But anyway, there's a top five out there via some reports of some of the guys who people were thinking that possibly could become, get cut from the team. Okay, but I know that they're looking at also talking with the Cowboys about running back Tyron Smith, another good running back that would be a great compliment to Najee Harris. I want to see them get rid of Benny Snell. I call him Smell because he stinks. I mean, he really truly does. I mean, he's a terrible running back, fumbles the ball all the time. So I mean, he's really horrible as far as yeah, he does. He stinks really bad, and I mean, he's just a horrible running back. I don't like him. I think he needs to go. I think the Steelers are better off trying to find somebody else, to the gap. And if they sign this guy, I think Benny Smith will be on his way out. And but Derek Watt, they need to start inserting him into the lineup. There are some reports out there that he could be one of the guys that might get cut, and eliminate that family feel. Because we're the only team in the NFL right now that has four sets of brothers on the same team: the Watts, the Edmonds, the Davises, and the Haywards now. All right, so you got Cam Hayward, Connor Hayward. So what I'm saying to you is we have four sets of families with brothers all on the same team. Okay, so it's just like, okay, the four. Remember that old commercial back in the day, 4C. What is it? The breadcrumbs or the Parmesan cheese of the Davis family. Well, yeah, you have the Davis brothers who are on the team, the Watt brothers, and several others who are on the team as well. And but here's the five notables that could possibly be off the team. Marcus Allen, there's a lot of depth at linebacker this year. You got a lot of young guys that perhaps might not be a bad thought to basically say, okay, let's get rid of Marcus Allen. But Marcus Allen has been a warrior. He's been a guy who has played two different multiple positions, both as a defensive back and a linebacker. Derek Watt, that could happen, but I don't think it will. And the reason I say that is because Derek Watt needs to play more on the offense, which with last year with some of Matt Canada's offense, he couldn't possibly. He played a little bit in the power running game down in the line of down in the goal or the red zone area, where you have first and goal, second and goal, and you might want to try to run the football in, so you can impose your will on the other team. And there was a few times they did. And I mentioned earlier, Mason Rudolph could be on his way out and his $5 million contract. They could go with Kenny Pickett as the backup, and then they could also go with that new quarterback, the guy they got in the seventh round, Okunjoku from South Dakota State. Okay, Benny Snell, which I said before, Robert Spillane, he could be on his way out. There's a bunch of list of guys that they're preliminarily already talking about being out there amongst that could possibly lose their jobs because of rookies and different players that they have brought in. The Steelers have really spent a lot of money this year on defense. And, if you ever hear some of the experienced coaches like Bill Cowher and, Bill Belichick, they say defense wins football games. Tony Dungy has said that. So the Steelers have a decent defense this year, and it looks like they should have a good one. And if they don't, then shame on them. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. You have, a bunch of defensive minds there that are just, you have Terrell Austin, who's been around. You have Brian Flores, and then you have and Mike Tomlin. Keith Butler came out this year when he retired and said that Coach Tomlin put most of his feet into the defense after Dick LeBeau left, and that was one of the conditions for LeBeau staying, was that he got full control of the offense. So that was the story with that. So there we are with the Steelers as far as that goes. Their defense, the offense should look pretty decent as well. And the reason I say that is because this year, and I've said this many times, Matt Canada has an opportunity to make sure that his offense is working this year. He can't use the excuse that Ben was the reason why. Oh, well, Ben, I had to shorten the offense, which he did because of Ben. All right? That was the main reason he had to do that. But let me say this, okay? This year, Matt Canada should be under the gun. He should be, and walking on eggshells. Because the reason is because now he has the opportunity to use his full offense and really show everybody what the Steelers are made of this year. Okay? He has those jet sweeps, running game, play action. We should see a little more of everything this year with the Steelers. So anyway, that is this scenario tonight on the Steelers. And if it's your first time watching the program, I welcome you to the show. Thanks for watching. Comment section wide open. Juana's already said that hello to me, and that she is a steady watcher of the shows. She really is. And I thank her for that as well. Tonight, I will not be on my wrestling show in Tampa because Peter Blake has he has something to do. Lightning and the Avalanche are in a squabble for the Stanley Cup final. We'll talk about that later on as well. Right now, let's talk about the Pirates. They finally, and I got to say this, finally blew somebody out. I mean, they haven't been hitting real well. They haven't been doing too much of any of that lately at all, as far as the Pirates go. And what has happened is that they haven't done any kind of hitting, too many strikeouts, too much, fielding errors. For a while there, they were looking like the Bad News Bears. And I got to tell you, right now, they're up 5-0. So, now they're starting to really come around against the Cubs. And they need to win these division games. They need to beat the Cubs. They need to beat the Cardinals more. They need to beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee's starting to fall apart. So maybe when Milwaukee comes in here, it's perhaps they could end up winning. Ronzi Contreras is pitching tonight. They're in the fourth inning. He already has 60 pitches in. So after 100 pitches, most of the time, most managers take their pitchers out unless they're really doing some stuff. He finally called up Orneal Cruz, and you know what? I'm really pissed at this team for doing this. They let that kid sit down there in the minors. I know he was doing his thing, getting his seasoning in. Doing his fielding stuff. But here's the thing that really bothers me. And I know we have young kids here, young players that, that the Pirates have. But there's no excuse for not making simple baseball plays that any simple person could probably make. Okay? How can you not make the right plays? How can you make all the errors and everything that they've done from the games in the past? All right? Now, last week I had Marty Leap on the show here, and he was talking about the Pirates. He classified Derek Sheldon. Do you think Derek Sheldon is the right manager for this team? All right. I want your comments in the comments section. Live call-in number at the bottom on the ticker take. Wide open. The lines are wide open here also for our live call-in. So if you're interested in calling in and expressing your opinion about what you think in regards to the Pirates and what you think they possibly are going to do this year. Maybe they might do 500 this year. I don't know. Everyone's saying they're going to lose 100 games again. That could happen. And if it does, I think we need to take a real close look at Derek Sheldon, because I'm not sure, unless we give him maybe one more full season, because he's had shortened seasons because of COVID. Okay? So what I'm thinking is maybe the Pirates are going to take a long look at Derek Sheldon, maybe for another year, and say, well, maybe it's time for you to go. I think, and I sort of agree with Marty a little bit, I think he's another John Russell holding down the fort until they can find somebody. And right now, there's two unemployed managers out there. One is Joe Madden from the Anaheim Angels, who basically, in my eyes, I think is probably one of the best managers to handle young talent. Okay? He's up in age, I understand that. But he's good at working with young talent. Take a look at Tony La Russa coming back to manage. Take a look at Buck Showalter. These guys are fossils. But look, they have young teams, and their teams are not doing too bad, because these older managers can really get into managing and coaching these young players. And these young players will respect them because they're an older manager. Just like if you respect your father, or you respect your mother, they would respect this manager like he's an uncle, or he's a relative of the family. He might be Uncle Harry or Uncle Peter, whatever, So, but anyway, and you know what? The Pirates have been, since the blowout in Chicago a few months back, they have managed to come up short, but at least they're in games. And what I'm saying to you is, at least they're scrapping hard. And that's why people are calling them the Battling Bucks, because they're really doing that kind of a job of being scrappy and wanting to play. And when you're a young player, you want to play. You want to show what's going on. You want to show your skills so you could stay up here instead of going down to triple A or double A or single A or prison ball or wherever it is that they send you. Those kind of things, happen. So, O'Neal Cruz coming up. His defense played real well last night. His bat, he has a good bat. He has good overall experience all across the board, unlike the $80 million man. And you know what? I'm tired of people criticizing me for picking on this guy. Well, you know what? When you make $80 million a year, you're there for 8 years at $10 million a year, and you strike out every game, I have a right to say to you, as a person in the media who talks about sports, I have a right to say that you strike out all the time, and he does. It's the truth, But you got these people out here and that just simply defend this guy, okay? All right? Oh, Bob Nutting just gave that money out just to please people. Well, maybe Bob, I mentioned this last show, and I mentioned this a few shows before. Maybe Bob Nutting has changed. People can change. Can Bob Nutting change? I don't know. But, I don't think he was signed just to, make people happy or to make himself look good. I think the Pirates may be starting to come around to where they're going to start signing some of these guys, the nucleus of this team, like the Brian Reynolds and the Key Brian Hayes. His defense is great. He needs to get his bat in order. Okay. Now there was this big talk about how great Andy Haynes is, the hitting instructor for the Pirates this year, who came from Milwaukee. And Milwaukee has the greatest hitting of them all. And ever since he left, their hitting has been off. Okay. All right. I have a friend of mine in the media up there who up in that area, lives up in Wisconsin, Eric Katz, who tells me that Andy Haynes is a bum. All right, that he really didn't do much as a hitting instructor for Milwaukee. Well, Milwaukee was always hitting and always winning, so Andy Haynes had to do something right. Okay? But somebody got to work with Key Brian Hayes, because for the money he's being paid, you cannot say to him that his defense is worth the $10 million a year, and it's not. It's not worth that kind of money at all. Jack Sawinski, 3 home runs. Now, see, there's a guy who not only can field, but he can hit, just like O'Neal Cruz. I don't get it with Hayes. All right, and I know he's in a slump, but you know what? You have to be, when you're making that kind of money, everybody, you have to be consistent. And when you're not consistent, that is what happens to you. You get criticized by the media. You get criticized by people. But there's not a lot of people out there that are criticizing him. They're out there going, oh, he's just young. Oh, yeah, you got to give him a break. No, I don't. He's making $80 million over the course of 8 years. That's $10 million a year. He's one of the highest paid Pirates in a long time. Okay? All right? How would you like if I paid you $10 million and you couldn't hit the ball? They just got rid of Cole Tucker because he couldn't hit the ball. And they didn't pay him nowhere near that kind of money. All right? Will Craig was another one. Now they have Hayes, they have Reynolds, they have him under contract. But again, the problem I have is they gave Key Brian Hayes all this money, and Key Brian Hayes is not hitting the ball at all. Maybe it's a little slump, I don't know. But he hasn't hit the ball all year, so it doesn't make any difference anyway. All right? So there we are. All right, has Bob Nutting, okay, is he trying to make it up to the fans? That's what I want to know. I want to know if you think Bob Nutting, the owner of the Pirates, is full of baloney. Is he still in the same situation that I have him in? And you know what that situation is? That I don't believe anything he says. I think he needs to, prove himself as an owner. He needs to prove himself, and if he doesn't, what can we say for him as an owner? All right. And then everybody says, well, he has the right business model. He's making money. Yeah, he's making money, but he's not no talent out on the field to bring fans into the seats. All right. Have you watched or seen a Pirate game lately, even if you're not a fan? Have you caught previews of it? Did you see the low attendance at these games? I mean, people are frustrated, and I don't blame them. Going to a ball game, I explained that last couple of weeks. Going to a ball game is not cheap. And, I explained about what was going on down there. My family and I, my wife and my mom, we all went down there. And, we were disappointed in the food. We were disappointed in just, a couple different things down there. I took some nice pictures, and it was a great outing. But just the food was bad. For what we paid for food, I thought it was wrong. And, I let it be known to the manager. And I will tell you this, they gave me a free soda pop in a bottle for the inconvenience of our food. Tasted nasty. Don't ever go to that burger place there that's near section 142 and whatnot, because I'm going to tell you what, that place, their food is nasty. It is terrible. And, for what you pay for it, you would think it would be better. All right, let's take a look at the Penguins. Pens hired Kevin Acklin as their business operations officer. Now, does anybody know who Kevin Acklin is? Well, I do, okay? Kevin Acklin was once an attorney or an accountant. Or maybe both, I don't know. All right? He was some kind of job or some kind of firm like that he works for or worked for. All right, then he became a city councilman and got elected. All right, then he stepped down and now, as a city council person, to become the Mayor Peduto's chief of staff, okay? Because the chief of staff that he had, Bill Peduto Guy Costa, retired, okay? So Kevin Acklin has been in politics. He was a lawyer, accountant, or whatever. Well, now he's the director of business. He's the business operations officer. All right. And I told everybody that this Fenway group that owns the Penguins, we're going to start making some changes. Now, I don't think they're, and from what I can see from right now, they're not blowing everything up. They're not taking a stick of dynamite and saying, well, let's just blow it all up because we need to do something about this organization in the way that they continue to fall in the first round of the playoffs. I blame Mike Sullivan for that because Mike Sullivan, once again, the Penguins have sort of kissed his butt and it's not for the good of the team. You need to do what's good for the team, and maybe Fenway Group will do that. Maybe they will. I can't say, I don't know, but you know what? I do want them to do what's good for the team, and perhaps maybe get rid of Mike Sullivan. All right? Maybe. That might not be a bad thought because Mike Sullivan has defied the odds. And let me say what I'm saying by defying the odds. He's used that run and gun type of play and has gotten away with it. And sometimes, like I've always said before, it's better to be lucky than good. And not a lot of times the Penguins were not good, but they got lucky. Okay? Crosby only has a few more years left, and we don't even know if Malkin is going to still be here or if Chris Letang is as well. Okay? All right, so Rod Rust is signed, but Hextall did make a comment sometime earlier in the year of the Penguins season that he may only be able to sign 2 of the 3, Malkin, Letang, or Rust. Well, they've already signed Rust. Still working on Malkin and Letang, for what I'm told. So we'll find out what happens. Maybe, just maybe, Malkin has indicated he's banked his money. So maybe, perhaps, he might want to stay with the Pens because he's familiar with the program. He learned his English. And then, he's got some friends here. So why not? I mean, stay here for a little less money, but you're happy. Your family's happy. You like Pittsburgh. Maybe you like Coach Mike Sullivan. I don't know. I mean, will he do that? He could. I can't say. Letang, on the other hand, he's going to take the most amount of money, and he's going to let his fingers do the walking like I'm doing right here, and he's going to walk away from everything. All right, he's going to walk away from the Penguins as soon as somebody comes up with the dollar. All right, and I'm hearing rumors now that Toronto's interested. So let's see what happens with Letang. Let's see what the Pens do with him. All right. All right. Also, former Penn defenseman Jack Johnson is playing for the Stanley Cup Finals, and he's playing for Colorado. Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was a bum when he was here. He was a bum. He was good in Columbus, but when he got here, he became a bum. Okay? He got hurt a lot. He, just wasn't there. His play was bad. So here we are, Jack Johnson with Colorado, and he's in the Stanley Cup Finals. Can you believe that? Only the former Penguins, and some of them, you know how that goes. Is Ricard worth signing? I think he is. I think he brings, some good element to his play. I think Ricard should be, a little bit. He'll probably be a little bit more involved this year because the trade was made, towards the middle to late year of this past NHL season. So we'll see what goes on. Training camp's coming up in September. They start playing in October. I think the Pens, they have to get a backup goalie. They have to get a good one. They can't have Casey DeSmith. He's not good. He's not a good backup goalie. And that's as simple as that. So, NHL Draft, July 7 and 8. That's coming up in about a week or so. We'll see what the Pens do. This will be Hextall's second draft. He didn't have a lot to play with last year because, remember, Jim Rutherford traded away a lot of the Pens draft picks, which is one of the reasons why Rutherford's no longer here. All right, let's talk about other Pittsburgh teams here. The Maulers, of course. We're going to talk a little bit about the Maulers here. As you know, I used to do a Mauler show. But the USFL, in their infinite wisdom, decided to have 2 more games instead of 8. They decided to have 10 to fill up the network time. Because, they bought network time with all these networks, and instead of eating it, They had to fill it up, so they added two more games, and I apologize for that because I was not aware. I would have continued to do Mahler talk and pre and post game, but I was not aware. So I made my schedule work for me because of the fact that I thought and I was told that the Maulers were only going to do 8 games this year. And the USFL went ahead at the last minute, just like they made that rule. And listen to this. The Maulers played the Michigan Panthers, and what had happened was when they played the Panthers, uh, Kirby Wilson. Well, Kirby Wilson has a bad habit of opening his mouth. He's like President Biden. He has a bad habit of opening his mouth, stick his foot in it. All right. Well, that's exactly what Kirby Wilson, head coach the Maulers, did. He opened his mouth. He said, "Oh boy, if we lose, guess what? We get the first pick in the draft next year, and their draft is different from the NFL draft, but they get the pick in the first in every round." Okay, which is great, good, that's nice. But then at the last minute, because of Kirby Wilson's big mouth, they decided to make the winning team go between the Panthers and the Maulers because those two teams had the worst records in the entire USFL, and they went ahead and decided to give it to the winner. So the Panthers won. So now in next year 2023 draft, which of course don't forget too, the Maulers and some of these other teams are going to be playing in their home fields next year, not just in Birmingham. And that's another story there as well. They the way their model of doing it, but everyone else is following their model. I'm hearing now that the XFL, The Rock, is following their motto, and they're going to start doing something similar. Having these games or these whatever practices and things like that. So, but don't eat a piece of pizza around Kirby Wilson, or you will get cut from the team, or fired, or whatever it is that you do that would cause that to happen because you went and got a piece of pizza and you really weren't supposed to. All right, Maulers player Bruce Tomlinson is the lone Mauler to be a player to make the All USFL team, and that's great. Good for him. All right, Passion. Pittsburgh Passion, our women's football team. Next week, I'm working on, either next week or the week after, I'm working on having Teresa Khan come on. Teresa Khan is the owner of the Passion, and I spoke with her today, and she's going to either come on next Tuesday or the Tuesday after. She is not only just the owner, Franco Harris is the owner of the team as well. They play their games at West Allegheny High School, and they're Field and Imperial. So so the Passion are having their playoff game. They're in the second round. They're going up against Boston now. They beat this Boston team. They go to the championship, I believe. Okay. If not, then they go to a playoff game again, and it'll be a third round. They made it as a wild card, I guess. I don't know how women's football playoffs work, but I do know one thing. They won their last playoff game last week in double or triple overtime or whatever it was there. They ended up winning the game, and then now they have to play this tough. I understand this Boston team is really tough for the Passion. All right, and the Riverhounds, they lost 1-0 this Saturday to RGF Toros, whatever that is. Sounds like a team from Mexico or Puerto Rican or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. There are teams like that in the USL, in the soccer for the Riverhounds. So that's who they played this week and lost 1-0. And so there we are with that. All right, Pitt Athletics. Let's talk about Pitt football. Pat Narduzzi has the largest transfer class of his coaching tenure. And he has brought in a lot of transfers from the transfer portal. But it also works opposite too. The transfer portal has been killing a lot of teams around here. Duquesne, Robert Morris, it's been killing them as well. They've had some issues with players leaving constantly and in and out. Look at Pitt. Look at Jeff Capel. Every year he has to replace his basketball team because of the transfer portal. And that's been the main reason why every year his team is terrible and why he doesn't have a good team. Well, I think this year he needs to do something. I think he's on thin ice here. I think the administration, even though Heather Lyke don't seem like she wants to fire him, probably will at the end of this season, or he may even just step down not to get fired and you know how that works. Some coaches will do that as well. Former Notre Dame running back C.B. Flemister wants to play for Pitt. He's transferring. He played for Notre Dame. And Pitt, like I said, they've been bringing in and out some great talent as far as as far as their recruits go. They have and they've been bringing in some graduate transfers. They want to try to win the championship again next year. And who knows? Maybe they might. I can't say that they won't. But right now it's unpredictable right now for Pitt. People are saying Pitt might not be able to do it this year. But they have Clinton Slovis. They have a new offensive coordinator and Frank Signetti. They have some tough sledding to start. They're playing West Virginia. It's the first year back of the backyard brawl. I'd like to see them have West Virginia and Penn State on a schedule. That's happened in the past. So we'll see how that works out in football. They have some dinky teams are playing, like Rhode Island, who I didn't even think even had a football team. But there you are. And speaking of teams, Duquesne this year is going to Hawaii to play the Rainbows, and they're going to Florida State to play Mike Norvell's Florida State team. I was told by Dave Finoli and Chris Fletcher, they're going to, you make money on that. They'll pay $500,000 or whatever, and Duquesne needs some money. They just built a new basketball facility. Maybe they'll get enough money from somebody. Juana says, very informative sports show. Thank you. Maybe Duquesne might be able to get an alum like Pitt has, donate some stuff, get some, fields and whatever, put in your name and things like that. All right, let's talk some more about the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons signed former Steeler Isaiah Buggs. All right, Isaiah Buggs had some kind of an altercation with a player, with another Steeler player on the sidelines, and that's the reason why he got cut, but he stunk anyway. Excuse me, sorry. Even though he played sparingly, he really wasn't all that great. Came from Alabama, so there's the issues with Isaiah Buggs. The big news today is Rob Gronkowski has retired from football. It's official. We'll see about that. Like Rodney Dangerfield once said, if the roast beef is right, they'll be back. Well, you know what? If the money's right and he's desperate, he'll be back. I know he's been injury prone over the last few years, but we'll see what he does. He originally signed a contract with the WWE, and then he screwed over Vince McMahon and went back to the NFL. And I thought that that was wrong. I mean, you don't do stuff like that even though I know it's Vince McMahon. But Carolina coach Matt Rule, Matt Rule this year, he's on eggshells down there in Carolina. His teams haven't done well, and the general manager is not happy, and the owner, Dave Tepper's, not happy either about what's going on down there. He has already named his quarterback for the starting season, Sam Darnold. He's already named Sam Darnold as quarterback. I believe they got Sam Howell or Matt Corral in the 6th round or whatever of the draft. So we'll see how that goes. And I remember when the draft came around, and I know despite the fact it was supposed to be a weak quarterback class, which it more or less was in some cases, but what had happened was nobody expected everybody to drop except Kenny Pickett. Okay? Malik Willis dropped. He was supposed to be, the Steelers were supposed to be talking to him, taking him out for, I guess he was taken out for tacos, and they took that Ritter, Desmond Ritter from Cincinnati, they took him out for steak dinner. So, I mean, so there we are, with that. And, he kind of made a little issue of that, yeah, I mean, he wasn't too happy about that at all. So there you go. I would be like that too if I had a steak dinner, like that. So there you are. But anyway, he will be his opening game starter, and Matt Rule has determined that. And also, Carolina is looking to try to get Baker Mayfield, which wouldn't be bad. I thought the Steelers were going to try to go for Baker Mayfield. There were rumors out there that the Steelers were looking at him, but that's not exactly the case either. Washington Commanders coach Ron Rivera and Lovie Smith both got fines. Now, Ron Rivera got fined $100,000 for some practice infractions. Now, what that is that, you're not supposed to violate the collective bargaining agreement between the union and the league. And I guess they have some kind of practice things that are involved in the language. I know about language and contracts with unions. I've been in 5 of them in my lifetime. And I know what goes on with, the language of the contract. Well, the language of the contract states, and I quote, that they have to, only do so many practices. You can only do so many in pads. Ron Rivera, he's old school, bruiser kind of coach, guy that was very defensive. He was a candidate in the early 90s for the Steelers job. So, I mean, he's coached at Carolina as a head coach, and now he's the head coach of the Washington Commanders. So, there we are. Lovie Smith as well got fined. The new Texans coach, but his fine was only about $20,000. But still, both of them are light in the wallet. Lovie Smith, he might have to go bag some groceries, make up for that $20,000, because I know, I think he's been broke from when he was with Illinois, and then he got fired from Illinois, and now he's with the Texans. So we'll see what Lovie Smith does with the Texans this year. Sorry about that, folks. But anyway, so that's that with that. And then also Rashard Mendenhall. Now listen to this. He's been on Twitter lately crying the blues because somebody said to him that, oh, well, you fumbled the ball, which he did in the Super Bowl. So now everybody is, laughing about this, and saying he's such a crybaby, which of course he is. He really is a crybaby. So, and he fumbled the ball in the Super Bowl in 2010 against Green Bay, which led Green Bay to recover it and be able to score a touchdown. So, I mean, here's a guy who didn't even play long in the league. He ended up retiring. I guess he banked his money. I mean, sometimes they do that. They bank their money. So we'll see what happens next with Rashard Mendenhall and his little crying act there. He went ahead and he just cried away about how on Twitter about how, oh, I didn't fumble the football. Yes, you did. Okay, and someone's calling you out on it, and you're acting like a crybaby, like some people, and that's what you're doing. Ryan Fitzpatrick has a new job. He just retired from football, former backup quarterback from many different teams in this league, and so he decided to retire. Now he got a job. It's nice. You get a broadcasting job right away because you're an athlete, a retired athlete. But, that's how that goes. So, I'm not going to go any further on that. There's a few of them in this town that don't deserve their jobs, that are former athletes and Steeler scouts, and they're on the air, and they're on all these shows and everything else. And, so I'm the forgotten son, so we'll just leave it at that. But anyway, he is going to be working pregame for that new Amazon TV who has taken over some of the NFL. There's a few early games this year that are on before church. They're on at 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, church is not even done for most people. I mean, my church, I'm not done because I do fellowship. My church is not done I'm not done at church till almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And if my mom and my wife and I decide we're going to go and have a meal, we go and have a meal or we'll go have lunch. So, I mean, then we're done at 2 o'clock. So, I mean, I missed the Maulers game, which to me was of no importance because I really wasn't reporting it, despite the fact I knew they were going to lose. But I didn't think they were going to lose 33-21. And, of course, like I said before, Kirby Wilson played the quarterback shuffle. I guess he felt now that instead of losing the game, which you could have got the number 1 pick, but you opened your big mouth, said, oh, we'll tank the game, and here we are. Well, guess what? Kirby, you opened your big mouth again, stuck the foot in it, hoof and mouth disease, and you ended up losing out on it because at the last minute, they decided to make the winning team the opportunity for the number 1 pick. in the USFL. NBA Finals, Golden State won the championship. Congratulations to Golden State. I mean, I'm not an NBA fan. I haven't been an NBA fan for a while. I don't even talk NBA, but I mean, it's great that, that they, won the, there we go. Yes, indeed. The studio audience here at Studio 808. We're in Studio B of Studio 808 tonight. And there we are. There's our audience giving you a clap there. There we are, giving a cheer out to the NBA team, the Golden State Warriors. All right. Okay, next, the NHL. Philadelphia Flyers have hired John Tortorella as their new coach, and they offered the original job to Barry Trotz. Now, Barry Trotz is the coach of the New York Islanders, former Washington Capitals coach. Played around with some money. I don't mean to interrupt, but Pirates 5, Cubs 1, and we're in the 5th inning with let's see, Vogelbach's up. He's 1 for 1 in the game right now, which is great. He's been hitting again. He had a big slump, so we'll see what Vogelbach does. But anyway, John Tortorella has this bad habit of coaching. One, maybe two seasons, he'll get out of these players. And then after that, he tanks. And that's why he gets fired all the time. Okay? I mean, you're a coach that, you got to have a long life. Mike Sullivan, he's been around for a while with the Pens. At least a good 7 years. I mean, that's a good longevity for an NHL coach. Because a lot of them guys, they don't last very long on some of these teams. Some of these owners are very impatient, and they don't want to, wait up for it. They're going to fire you, and that's how it goes. All right, in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Avalanche. They're up 2-1. Tampa finally won last night, and I think they're playing again tonight, and we'll see what goes on with that. I got a comment here. It says, congratulations to Golden State. Yes, indeed. Congratulations. So there we are. You could be part of the show as well. Comment section open. Our live phone number is open as well. You can be first up for your call. And so far I have no calls. So if you're interested in calling in, the number's 412-998-8448. It's right there on the ticket take. So don't forget to, you can also call in as well. You can email me if you like the show, ralphwilliams737@gmail.com. If you like the show. So don't forget, Thursday night, 8 p.m., Wrestle Talks, Blog Talk Radio with me, Ralph Williams, Mark Mancini, and our new addition to the show, Smokin' Jim Frazier. We will talk wrestling. Lots to talk about. Big news in wrestling. You'll find out Thursday night at 8 p.m. I was supposed to be on tonight with Peter Blake, but we had to cancel in Tampa. We were going to talk Turnbuckle Talk. That's usually every Wednesday night at 10:30. But due to the Lightning playing right now, we haven't had anything. We haven't been able to do the show. Mark Mancini, is also covering some stuff. He was covering some Dodger games and some things. So both guys are busy. And so am I. I'm doing my show right here. Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m., Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams, right here on Facebook and YouTube. We're live. I want to thank everybody for viewing The Way I See It show last night. It was a record-breaking views in the first day. I've never had this many views that I have right now. Okay? What I have right now is almost ready to beat the Sports Corner show. The Sports Corner show that I did with Ray Porter Jr. and the other one that I did with Claudia Rosano about 3 months ago that has over 100 or more, over 150 views, and we're still counting. Okay? Which is great. I would love to see that many views all the time. But right now, The Way I See It is trending. You can check it out on my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can get all my shows when we're done with them. It'll come straight to you, or you can archive them as well. And also don't forget to like me on my Facebook page as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by DJ Fun. DJ Fun is a DJ who does DJ work for weddings, parties, and special events. Don't forget to call DJ Fun today, 412-545-4317. Call DJ Fun today. Listen, there are DJs out there charging thousands of dollars, and they don't have the experience DJ Fun has. Would you rather pay hundreds, or would you rather pay thousands? Okay, so you think about that before you think about that before you book a DJ. That's why you need to call DJ Fun today. 412-545-4317. Our other sponsor is Farmers Insurance with Robin Campbell. Robin Campbell's a great guy. Any kind of insurance you need, from life insurance, car, renters. I can't stress it more that if you rent, and I don't care if you rent from an agency like I do, okay, and they tell you there's insurance on your apartment, you still want to make sure that you're covered. So go get renter's insurance. It's not that expensive, anywhere from $10 to maybe $20 at the, if even that, a month for renter's insurance. I urge you to get it. You never know when you're going to have a problem. Sometime you might have a fire or an incident in your house where your stuff needs to be replaced, and Red Cross might not have a place to put you. So call 412-366-3399. Call Robin Campbell today, Farmers Insurance. He'll come to your house. He'll give you a cell phone number. That is how dedicated Robin Campbell is to the job. Do you ever notice when you do have an insurance agent, oh, he's only there Monday through Friday? Forget it. Okay? Not Robin Campbell. Call him today. Once again, number 412-366-3399. Call him today. Best in the business as far as insurance goes through Farmers Insurance. One last thing I want to add in the NHL before we go. We're getting ready to wrap things up here on Sports Corner. Carolina Panthers defenseman Ethan Barr is on the trading block, free agent. Rumors are having it that the Pens might be interested. I don't know if the Pens can afford this guy, but we're going to find out what they do and see what Ron Hextall does. I'm hearing stories that the Fenway Group not pleased with Brian Burke. He's supposed to be the director of player development for the Pens. I'm hearing stories now. We'll find out. Rumors float around. You know how that goes with rumors. People talk about me too, and stuff like that. They say bad stuff about me. I hear rumors all the time. Rumors are rumors. They'll always be there. There's always gossip. You know how that goes. But that's so far some of the stories and reports that I'm hearing is that they are not pleased with Brian Burke. So we'll find out what happens. Hextall, on the other hand, his job is still safe. We'll see what goes on with that. Also, Fenway Group, I don't know. As of right now, it don't look like they're going to clean house, but I think they've gotten rid of some guys in the upper management positions. Some of the assistant scouts are gone. They replaced them with some other scouts. So I hope the hires are good and the Pens can get back to winning the Stanley Cup. And anyway, I wanted to remind you once again, Thursday night, don't forget, 8 p.m. this Thursday, Wrestle Talk with me, Mark Mancini, and Smokin' Jim Frazier. I approve this message. I want to let you all know that as well. Saturday, 5 p.m., Sports Corner. Don't forget about the sports smorgasbord, Steel City Sports World, Sports Corner, and the Boxing Authorities. Check PCTV's listings. They have a habit of moving things around. Sometimes it's 4 p.m., and then sometimes it's 5, 6, and 7, where I lead off, and then Steel City Sports World and Boxing Authorities at 7 o'clock. So sometimes that's what happens at times as far as scheduling goes. So you might want to check PCTV's listings as well. And I'm looking at doing a wrestling show on PCTV. So stay tuned for that. I have The Way I See It also on the TV. Look for that on a rotating basis as well. My guests are Dave Finoli and Chris Fletcher on The Way I See It TV. Now, Monday night, 7 p.m., The Way I See It with me, Ralph Williams. Don't forget on some Wednesday nights or on Wednesday night, 10:30, Turnbuckle Talk with me, Peter Blake, and Mark Mancini. And that's at 10:30 p.m. Wednesday nights. Don't forget to tune into that. That's live as well on YouTube and Facebook. Also, don't forget about next Thursday, Black and Gold Sports Podcast. Me, Mark Mancini, Smokin' Jim Frazier. We'll talk about Rob Gronkowski and a whole lot more next Saturday on Blog Talk Radio. Also, Wrestle Talks on Blog Talk Radio. 347-205-9631. Write that phone number down for tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Or I'm sorry, not tomorrow night. I'm talking about Thursday night, 8 p.m. With Wrestle Talk with me, Mark Mancini, Smoking Jim Frazier. Lots to talk about if you're a big wrestling fan. Also, I want you to petition one of these stations in town to pick up my wrestling show so that you can listen to it on the radio here in the Pittsburgh area. Anyone wants to get a petition started, let me know. All right, and so we can present it to the station. All right, I am Ralph Williams. This has been Sports Corner. Good night, and have a good one, and be safe, and I'll see you next week.